Apple Knocker Radio.
Oh, okay. So I was also going to ask you. You mentioned the money aspect of the songs for movies and TV, and when I was researching, I saw you had all these songs on various movies and TV and everything. I actually got curious and I looked it up and I said, like, what's the regular rate for when you have a song on like a major show? And it was it was way lower than I expected it to be. Like I honestly would have guessed, and I don't mean to like pry into finances or anything. This is just a generally curious thing. Because I honestly would have guessed, like, dude, you had a show, like you had a song on like Smallville or something, you must have made $10 million. And then like you look it up, it's like, they don't actually make that much. Has it always been that way? Or like you were just talking about the changes in the industry?
It depends on the show. I mean, a lot of things like MTV, VH1E, any of that Viacom stuff does a lot of gratis license where you get $0.
$0.
You get your back end, you get your
royalty
public performance royalties.
Oh, okay.
You know, I mean, just to give you ballpark, and everyone's different. Let's say you had a song on MTV 10 years ago. Over the life of 10 years, you might see a couple $1,000s on it.
Yeah.
You need a lot of those to really add up. Now, that doesn't mean like Smallville, yeah, a couple grand up front for your licensing fee. Obviously, a song has two halves. It has your copyright half, it has your writing half. So the math on song income is like a calculus. You don't even want to start digging into the mess that it is. And it's all related to a congressional law back in the 1940s. So it's very difficult to navigate. But yeah, now there's certain shows. I mean, but a lot of it has to do with who you are. If you're Pearl Jam and someone wants to use a live, they're probably going to offer you double six figures for it.
Yeah,
if you're an unknown artist and you get a show like a really like Grey's Anatomy or something, you really might see $5,000 to $20,000 for the use. But that is split up in the ownership and the writers and everything. But no, I think I can remember the first one I ever got long before Granville. I posted at my rock band I got something, and everyone was like, "What kind of car are you getting? What are you?" And I was just like, "Wow, the public perception of the amount of income is very different than what it is."
Because ain't no toy car.
Yeah. You have to get a lot of income streams going at once.
Right. I mean, I think that's pretty standard across all creative endeavors. I mean, it's the same thing with writers. It's like, oh yeah, I got this story published. You made $100, and people think like, oh my God, you got this published. Like, dude, this is something people generally do for love. And then if lightning strikes and you get to be one of those people where something crazy comes together, but like, I mean, people do it for love. So.
Yeah, we don't I think it's as a world, we don't support the arts financially, which is, that's why people used to have, what's the word I'm looking for? You have a person that pays for everything for you, that sponsors you.
Oh, a patron.
Patron. Yeah, I mean, you used to have some of the great artists of the world had, Leonard da Vinci, all these people had patrons who kept them going.
Right.
Yeah. It still existed. So.
The whole competition was to get that patron. Like, yeah, you read that history, it's like you'd have it also worked for like even scientists and scholars. Like you're all fighting to get that patronage, because if not, then you can't do what you want to do.
It's hard.
Tesla got screwed.
Yeah. It doesn't happen anymore. It's really sad. And there are things like Patreon and stuff like that, but there's a vast difference between what music used to do in terms of monetarily compared to what it is now. It's really hard to make a living as a musician without having some kind of side hustle. So most do. Most people either wait tables or have a bread making business or
they marry rich.
Yeah, which is always the best option, because then you don't have to make bread or
right.
Music. But most of the time people do have some kind of side hustle, because it's impossible not to nowadays. It's, I guess 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I had an album cut with the band Sugarland. And that album cut, that wasn't even a single, made me 10 times more the money than the single that we had with Billy Currington that landed at number 29 4 years ago.
That's because of CD sales. Mechanical royalties.
There's no mechanical royalties anymore.
Now there's one.
So it used to be that you could make a living off of getting album cuts, and you could make a sustainable living, and not just a sustainable living, like a really good living. And now, you get an album cut, you maybe will see a couple grand. Maybe. Like
That's
maybe.
wild. That's wild. Yeah, I come across like that. I come across that a lot when I talk to musicians. Even when I talk to Cindy Wilson, the B-52s, and granted, the B-52s are past their heyday, but still, when they made their last album a couple years ago, she said they were happy just to make the cost of the album back. I mean, that's like a band that's a cultural icon, and they were happy to just make the cost of the making the album back. That's freaking crazy.
To break even on it. Yeah, it's pretty astounding, just the numbers 15 years ago, 12 years ago versus now.
Yeah, it's just simply, again, a big act like Sugarland, that record sold 6 million copies.
Yeah.
Billy's record sold 80,000 CDs. I mean, you're looking at a massive difference because everyone's streaming, and then you get into the whole other
the Spotify war that we are in, but it'll never end, unfortunately, because
the labels made a deal with Spotify.
Yeah, the labels made a deal with Spotify, and the artists got, well, not the artists, the writers got screwed.
The writers got screwed more than that.
Yeah. So it's a whole ass thing, and with the changing world, I think as songwriters didn't really secure our place.
It's such a tiny group of people. Too.
Yeah, it is. It's a small representation for sure. So it's difficult. It's a really tough time to be a musician, and you're right. If you don't love it, then
it's a good time. If you don't love it, you're not going to be in it.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's why I honestly appreciate when I hear something